Hello and welcome back everybody. This is Angry Jay and I'm back today with another installment of my NHL 94 talk series. Today I'm going to talk about the CB check in the Sega Genesis version. Just to quickly go over what I talked about last time, which was the weight bug check in the Sega Genesis version. I'm going to provide a link in the description to that video if you want something more in depth, but just to quickly go over that, the weight bug check is a bug in the Sega Genesis version where lighter players like Jeremy Roenick, who is 172 pounds, is able to body check heavier players such as Ray Bourque or Adam Oates when they have the puck on their stick. If you want more detail, feel free to go back to that video, the link's in the description, but now I'd like to focus on the topic for today, which is the CB check. So what is the CB check? Essentially, the CB check is the same thing as a normal body check or a C check because you use the C button on your controller to initiate the body check. So the CB check is just really the same thing as a C check, but with one extra button of input involved with it. So, for example, you're controlling Steve Smith on the ice, and he's a heavier player. Generally, you can't hit people and knock them over to get the puck when you're Steve Smith. He's just too heavy. The weight bug cancels that out. But if you use a CB check, he's able to actually knock over people now that are lighter than him, such as Don Sweeney, Ray Bourque, and really the entire Boston starting five are susceptible to being body checked by Steve Smith because of the CB check. So, how do you do a CB check is really the main question now. Well, doing a CB check is really essentially the same thing as doing a body check, but with just one extra input involved in it. So, for example, you're controlling Steve Smith on the ice, and you want to check a Boston player such as Joe Juneau, and he has the puck. So what you want to do is use the C button with Steve Smith to initiate the body check, but before contact is made with Joe Juneau, you want to push the the B button to remove user control from your player before that check makes contact. So why would you do that? Why would you remove user control from a player that you're trying to body check with? Well, the reason is pretty simple why you would do that, and that is because when you remove user control from a player who is trying to complete a body check, the weight bug gets reversed when this happens. So you remove user control, the weight bug gets reversed, and this means Steve Smith, who is larger than Joe Juneau, can now body check Joe Juneau successfully and obtain the puck. Whereas before you couldn't really do this, and this really changes the game completely because now heavier players have an ability to fight back physically against smaller players like Joe Juneau. That's really the basis of the CB check and why you want to use it. So another thing to keep in mind with the CB check as opposed to the weight bug check is the weight bug check is pretty simplistic in its and how it works. And how it works is Jeremy Roenick, he's lighter than Adam Oates by more than 16 pounds, or 16 pounds or more. He's going to have a successful weight bug check because that's really the only factor that goes into it. With CB checking, it's a little bit more complicated than that. So not only do you need to be heavy, it also helps to have a high checking rating. So you'll see here Steve Smith, he has a pretty solid checking rating. He has a 63, or essentially, if you go by the attributes that are actually in the game, they use a 0 to 6 scoring system to determine what everybody's ratings are. So in this case, Steve Smith, the 63 checking is really a 4 out of 6, so he's above average in checking. So when you add his above average checking with his high weight, and the last thing that really needs to be considered with CB checking is mobility, you add in the fact that he's a above average skater, he's going to be a very dangerous CB checker, and he's going to be able to throw his weight around all over the ice on mostly everybody in the game because of just his high weight, his above average checking, and his above average speed and agility ratings. So this is in stark contrast to a previous dilemma that you would have in Chicago is before CB check was discovered, is you would either have the choice of playing Steve Smith, who couldn't check anybody and would get knocked over very easily, but he had high skill, or you would play Cam Russell, who has, very mediocre skills at best, but he had a low weight, so he was able to knock other players down. So now, not only can you have the best of both worlds, which is a skilled player who can knock people down, it also allows you to really keep your best players on the ice and not have to resort to options like Cam Russell, who are, severely handicapped in the skill department. So this really changes the game completely. Whereas teams, players like Ray Bork, who is also affected by weight bug checking in a negative way, he is also now probably the best CB check option in the game. He has high weight, 220 pounds, 99 checking, which is a 6 out of 6, so he's a perfect checker, and he's even better skater than Steve Smith. He's a really good skater for a defenseman especially, so he's going to be incredible with CB check. And now Boston, they change as well too as a team. They now have the best weight bug check defenseman, Don Sweeney, and the best CB check defenseman in the game, Ray Bork. So CB check isn't just some little thing you have to keep in the back of your head. It's something that needs to be in the front of your head, because it changes the game completely. It makes more players really play to their attributes. Whereas Ray Bork, he's a 99 overall or 98 overall. He didn't really play that way before with the weight bug check. Now with CB check, all of his skills really come to the forefront. I mean, he can still get knocked over with a weight bug check by Jeremy Roenick, but now Jeremy Roenick needs to watch out for Ray Bork when he comes into the offensive zone, because Ray Bork, if he gets a body check on him with the CB technique, he's going to lay him out. So this really opens things up, like I said. So just what you want to take away from this is heavier players have an ability to play physical now with this technique, the CB check, and it's not just a weight attribute calculation like it was with the weight bug check. There's a little bit more that goes in this one. You need a player with high weight, preferably with high checking, because the higher the checking, the more effective their CB check will be, and the more effectively they can check anybody of any weight, really. And also good skating, because they're going to get increased momentum going towards their target, and when they make contact with their target at a higher rate of speed, they're going to have a higher chance of knocking someone down, just like in real life. So this really makes the game much more realistic by allowing larger players to really throw their weight around. And that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to throw them into the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.